and maximum 10 minutes, please.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I'd like to thank the speakers who have presented earlier in this session. They've given us some excellent insights into potential scale of the opportunities that exist in Nigeria today, and also, most importantly, the considerable work that's been done by the government of Nigeria, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, to support the growth and the development of the mining sector in Nigeria. In terms of my presentation, I'd like to talk about four things. Firstly, it's our very positive experience of working in Nigeria. Secondly, as you can see from the title slide here, the progress that we've made in the development of our Segilola project, where we're targeting commencement of construction this year. Then also the significant upside potential that we see at both Segilola and as we extend underground at Segilola. And then the satellite potential we have in the immediate vicinity of the Segilola deposit, and then the regional potential we've done a lot about earlier on as well. I think we're fairly familiar with the concept of disclaimers. So first of all, I'll just talk a little bit about Thor, give you an introduction to ourselves. We are TSXV listed. We're West African focused, but we are home in Nigeria. By that I mean we're capital markets access comes to our TSXV listing. We have a current market capitalization of $50 million. That enables us to have a strong focus on corporate governance, where 80% of our board is non-executive, 50% of that board is independent, including our chairman. However, our founder and CEO is Segun Lawson, who is dual citizen, Nigerian and British. And we have a wide experience on our management team, covering all functions from operations, project development, exploration, CSR and finance. I will say we're in a funding round at the moment, therefore with the capital structure of the company. When I say we're home in Nigeria, 60% of our shareholding base is Nigerian, or Nigerian affiliated, including the state government of Ocean, which is where we are operating, and the government of Nigeria. We recently announced the financing with the AFC, the Africa Finance Corporation, the development of the Segilola project. The AFC is a multilateral financial institution, which is fully 4.7% owned by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and they'll be investing in full both from a debt and equity perspective. Successful completion of these current fundraisings will fund the development of the Segilola project and further exploration. A quick snapshot of where we are. Our flagship project, as I said, is the Segilola open pit project. It's shovel ready, all approvals are in place. We're looking to start construction in Q3 this year with an 18-month build time and looking for first gold in Q4 2020. Has an open pit probable reserve of 405,000 ounces at 4.2 grams per tonne. It's a very high grade deposit. And we're targeting an average production of 8,000 ounces per annum, with an initial production over 100,000 ounces. We're also looking at the underground opportunity at Segilola, which I'll touch on very quickly later in the presentation. Our initial first pass on that in the pre-economic assessment was stacked up very well, 6.3 gram per tonne head grade, 30,000 ounce supplementary production to our open pit. We also have opportunities in both Senegal and Burkina. Given the focus of this current presentation on Nigeria, I'm going to stick with Nigeria, where we've also got the grassroots exploration pipeline, 662 kilometers squared, which is in proximity to and similar geological terrain to the Segilola project. Why we like Nigeria? I think this is very important. We spend a lot of time focusing on the technical aspects of the project, but we don't talk about the other aspects which enable us to be able to move forward to construction and operation of the project. Firstly, the immense geological potential, which we've heard today about already. This is why we're here. Otherwise, we'd go somewhere else. The geological potential is huge. There's been virtually no exploration over the last 60 years due to the country's focus on oil and gas. And our current focus is on the 400-kilometer long Elisha Schist Belt and African origin, which again we heard about earlier on. Most importantly for us, the strong support for the mining industry. The mining code's been well developed. The country has a well-developed mining code, which has been developed with the assistance of the World Bank. There remains an active World Bank involvement in terms of additional capacity building. We've heard about the Diver project today. Most importantly, policy promotes private sector-led growth and development of the sector. We're very pleased that both the Ministry and the Government are promoting the sector so strongly, and that's demonstrated both in terms of all the work that's been done, but also the substantial fiscal incentives that are available in the country, which relates to effectively a 3 to 5 year tax holiday, exemption from customs and imports duties, and free transferability of currency, etc. But why Nigeria? So the established industrial base, we already have heavy industry in the country. It's one of the largest aggregate cement producers on the African continent. Haul trucks are there, explosive manufacturing are there. In fact, our explosives manufacturer is a 3-hour drive away, so emulsion explosives 3 hours from the site. Access to labour. It's the largest pool of well-educated labour in Africa. Excellent transferability of skills from a well-educated population. And then specialist mining skills, where they're not available in country, are available, very available in the region. Political environment, anti-corruption government, strong history in democratic elections. And then, people forget, it's the 7th largest producer of oil globally, the sort of strong banking and financial sector, the 2nd largest stock exchange in Africa. Again, one of the reasons we've been able to move forward with the project is the availability of finance. And it is the dominant economy in Africa, in West Africa and West Africa. And it's projected to be one of the largest economies globally by 2020. Very quickly, that's where we're based. That's the
really quickly, because the others waiting.
Okay, so let me zoom forward a couple of slides. This is what we're looking at. So this is it's the highest grade open pit gold development project in West Africa. You see here, grade is king. The low all-in sustaining cost. If I move forward, this is our underground. Our first pass of our underground, as I said before, stacks up extremely well. And this is what we're in it for. If you see on this slide here, that's the open pit. The grade was starting at 5 to 6 grams per ton. An average grade of 4.2 grams per ton. The area you see in green, that is the extent of our underground at the moment. You can clearly see the high-grade shoots continuing. That will be the focus of our continuing exploration at site. The head grade in the underground, as I said, was 6.2 grams per ton. The extent of the drilling at the moment is just at 200 meters. There is no drilling below that. We ended high-grade mineralization. This is our license, our exploration license around Segilola. Multiple target zones for follow-up RC drilling based on the geochemical data that we have. We talked about the Elashes belt earlier on. We've 7 licenses, 689 kilometers squared, that we've targeted based on aeromagnetic data. Now, I think this is another important aspect for us.
I have 1 minute to go.
Thank you. We obtained this data as part of the open information source data from the government. We use that as our base data to supplement our own analysis. That is the first step in our exploration program. We're now following up on what we have identified as being key target zones based on our understanding of the Segilola deposit. Very quickly, in my last 30 seconds, in a bit of a shameless promotion. So we have the near-term production potential at Segilola. At Segilola, we also have another 20,000 ounces of inferred material that's not included in the economic analysis. We have the expansion underground at Segilola. We have the extension in terms of extending that underground opportunity further down. And then we have this huge organic growth potential in Nigeria. And that is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, that we're in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us in Nigeria. I had hoped that we're going to have 15 minutes to actually discuss and ask them questions and clarifications, but unfortunately we just have about 3 minutes to go. So what I'll do is I'll raise 3 questions for the gentleman, and hopefully if we have time, each of them will comment for 30 seconds, and then I hope we'll continue to discuss over lunch. The first question to Mr. James Philip and Mr. Eyre. It appears, or it is evident, even by sitting here, that gender is such a big issue in the mining sector. And I do appreciate that you do have diversity in your boards. To what extent are women included? And looking at Nigeria, where 65% of the population are young people and youth. And also importantly, with World Bank support, human capital development is crucial. How are these linked? Because when you look at investments in Nigeria, and you're not looking at gender, you're not looking at youth inclusion, and you're not looking at human capital development, it's really, really short term. The second question has to do with social justice and equity, and that has to do with the government. As you create ease of doing business in Nigeria, how do you put social justice and equity? How do you protect the people who are already in the land? How do you ensure compensation? How do you ensure job, which is now central to the insecurity in the country? And finally, the big question is, how do you also protect the environment? Because the environment is such a big issue. So these are the 3 questions I have. I don't know if there's any burning question, just one burning question before they respond. Oh, thank you, none. So I'll pass on, starting with government. Government, what are you doing to ensure that the sustainability, the protection, youth are employed, and there's actually social justice and equity in all this transaction?
Thank you very much, moderator. Perhaps.
And 30 seconds.
Okay. Perhaps in recent time we must have understood that government instituted what we call ease of doing business in Nigeria, Executive Order 1. Now, the essence of the Executive Order is to make sure that companies coming into Nigeria, companies operating in Nigeria, are adequately catered for, that is protected.
Where is gender and young people in this?
Yeah. Now, then we have what we call in the sector, whereby we have inclusiveness of women, gender activity. Both in mining, in normal businesses, the government has made sure that every aspect of Nigeria is taken care of. The young people also are being considered protected in as part of the executive order of the government to make sure that they are included in whatever is going on, especially in mining.
Thank you. It's time.
Thank you.
Sir, can we look at climate, environment, and human capital development as we support from the World Bank?
I'm sure we can. I was all prepared for an answer on women in mining, but as part of the Mindiver project, there will be education and support through formalisation, and with that formalisation comes standards, and the standards for environmental protection, for health, safety, and social inclusion are primary. So, from a climate perspective, I think. One of the approaches that the bank have is that the solid mineral sector, which will be supported by the Mindiver project, excludes hydrocarbons and coal. With respect to other matters of environmental protection, then there is a strategic environmental and social assessment which is underway at the moment that we'll be reporting in the next few months. So we'd hope from that matters associated with climate change, with environmental impact of mining operations will be fully included within that study. From that study, implementations will follow. So I don't want to...
Thank you. I hope you keep an eye on that study to make sure these are included. Sir, looking at gender, you did say that your board is diverse. May I ask how many women you have on that and how many young people you have on that? If you don't want to share, that's okay. But how are you looking at the issue of young people and women within your investment in Nigeria? And sir, I'll come back to you finally.
Thank you. Look, I think it's very important for us, the social license to operate. And having a social license to operate means a wide variety of things. When we first started working on the project, we started working with both the national government, the ministry and the local governments, very much in terms of ensuring that we were liaising and engaging with the local communities in the most appropriate manner. The mining code in Nigeria is very well developed in this respect. They have their community development agreements you go through with your local communities. When we were working with the local communities, that meant setting those local committees up, which includes women's movements, which includes the youth movements, and intends to encompass the wider spectrum of society at that level. The ability to engage has been very, very good, and through that engagement, we've opened a very good channel of communication up with those local communities. The team that we put on board to do that into our company, they're all Nigerians. In fact, 3 of them are female, and they've led that engagement. So our approach has been to bring on skill sets where the skill sets are available and supplement them with international knowledge and understanding where applicable.
Thank you very much. And finally, sir, as you look at helping Nigeria as experts develop and lay out the if you may, the way the policy framework is going to be implemented in projects in Nigeria, how are you looking at transfer of knowledge? How are you looking at institutionalizing transfer of knowledge so that 5-10 years from now, you begin to see Nigerians at the top of business?
I guess just talking from my experience, where we're running probably about 10 to 12 teams, geological teams. So we've got a ranging geologists, both male and female, of varying experience. But where Nigeria is at the moment, because it hasn't had a long history in mining, there's not a lot of mining experience in terms of the geologists that we've got available. But there's, they go to university, they've got the foundations in geology. So we run a lot of in-house training for our teams. We've brought in, a lot of textbooks and things that we run, and we run soil courses for them. So I guess it's a building process with us in that, because we have to rely on them in the field. We can't do it all ourselves, so we have to rely on our team. So we've got this very open policy where we understand that they're learning, and we try and, I guess, keep that open door policy where we want them to come and tell us that they don't understand, or why are we doing this, or why is this plan to do it this way. So then we've got this, I guess, very open feedback system going on at the moment. But we also run formalised programs, training programs.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, could we please appreciate the panelists? And as you think through, as you contemplate, as you actually make up your mind in investing in Nigeria, there's another sector that's perhaps not going to the field is in the educational systems. Perhaps some of you may want to invest in building the next mining engineers within the country. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.